What Caleb Williams had to overcome in his rookie season was Mitch Trubisky, Matt Nagy-esque. And he came out on the other side a little bit scathed, but still standing. We got to talk about how impressive it is now seeing what we saw in his rookie year with new details that talk about the rift that could have been there between Caleb Williams and Shane Waldron. All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. So Caleb Williams' rookie season was not what Chicago Bears fans had hoped for it to be, as Jaden Daniels comes away with the offensive rookie of the year. Many Bears fans went into the season thinking this is Caleb's award to win. Well, he ended up not even being close in the offensive rookie of the year voting. And so many would look at that as a real damper on this season, a real down to this season, saying, you know what, maybe Caleb Williams is not the guy that we thought that he was. But recently in a podcast or in a show, Making of the Monsters by Second City Gridiron, they shed some interesting light on a situation that was going on with Caleb Williams. And Taylor Dahl did this. Now, just so people know, this is not just a random person saying random things, right? Taylor Dahl hosts Helmets and Heels over on 1010 XL down in Jacksonville, the Northeast Florida sports leader. And that is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars, by the way, where Shane Waldron just signed. So there's some digging and some information gained here that is what I would say is credible, right? This is coming from a credible person who is in the business, who is working at the flagship station of where Shane Waldron now is employed. So just to give you a little background there, so you're not like, oh, Pat, this is just a random report that's online. But what she said was, reportedly before Waldron was fired, Caleb Williams had to seek outside resources to review film because Waldron was not doing it with him. Remember, before the season has started, there were all these texts and Caleb's asking all these questions. Everybody's all in. Here we go. We got this. And it seems like as the season continued to go on, that did not become the case. Said Williams even went as far as creating his own film study room to make up for the lack of coaching from Waldron. Okay. All right. Listen, I get it. I understand that people are going to throw their daggers at Caleb Williams. But for a quarterback to take the initiative into his own hands, number one, this is very similar to what we saw end of season with Matt Nagy, Mitch Trubisky, right? Remember, Mitch comes through. He's got this notepad. Hey, I want to know the things that I can work on end of this first season, right? I want to know the things I can work on and we can get better. Let's do this. Let's set up a meeting. Let's go. Matt Nagy no-shows the meeting. Mitch Trubisky now kind of just left there. All right, I guess I'll figure this out on my own. Unable to do it. When I hear that he's watching film on his own, which he should be doing anyway, but that he's put together his own film study room, that he's bringing in his own people to help him watch film so that he can kind of figure out what he's looking at, and he's doing this all on his own. And not to say that there's not coaches there that he still can rely on, that weren't coaches in the building, right? I'm sure at a certain point, right, before Waldron is gone, maybe you're hitting up Thomas Brown, maybe you're hitting up, right, some of these other coaches that are in the room. But for you to just have the initiative to say, okay, well, he's not going to help me. I'm not going to be out here bad. I'm going to do this myself. And then you kind of see the results of what ended up happening throughout the season after the 4-2 start. When it starts to fall off, right? Maybe that's where, you know, Shane's not doing nearly as much of the job as he's supposed to be doing. I was thoroughly impressed, and it doesn't elevate the season. It doesn't make the season better, but it makes me impressed with the young man that is playing quarterback of the Chicago Bears. And as Bears fans, I think that everyone should be impressed that you have somebody, number one, who's going to take that initiative in himself to go out there and try and put as much of the workload on himself and say, listen, I'm not going to let myself fail. I'm not going to go out here and absolutely know nothing about this. I'm going to figure out what I need to do, what I'm looking at, how I need to attack things. differently because my coach won't do it. And listen, we've seen a lot of players fail in that situation. We've seen a lot of players who just say, well, the coach won't do it. We'll see what happens on Sunday. But it does, to me, it explains a lot of the miscommunications. To me, this would explain a lot of the mistimings. To me, this would explain a lot. Now, it doesn't mean, right, like that Caleb's off the hook for overthrowing the football or that he's off the hook for holding the football too long. But if I'm trying to figure out what's happening on the field while things are going on, right, while the daggers are being thrown at you, I'm going to hold the football a little bit longer than maybe I wouldn't. And when Thomas Brown took over as the OC, all of a sudden, boom, he starts throwing the ball. You start to see the ball come out of his hands quicker. You start seeing him attack a heck of a lot quicker. And I think it goes back, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but Keenan Allen was on, I want to say it was one of the recap podcasts, and he was talking about kind of why all of a sudden when Thomas Brown got in there, Caleb Williams seems to be making decisions quicker and making decisions better. And remember, he said, I think it was as simple as he now knew who his 1, 2, 3, and 4 receiver were. And in my mind, I'm sitting here going, that's the basis of offense in the NFL. You're telling me Caleb Williams didn't know who his number 1 receiver was at a given time? You're telling me he doesn't know how to go through his progression? Who's the people he's supposed to be looking at through the progression? Am I going left to right? Am I going 1, 3, 5 or 1, 3, 2, 4? Am I going to the check down here quickly? Like all of these things of, okay, this feels like basic football moments that we didn't see early on in his rookie year, and you started to see a little bit later, and you were just like, oh, he's starting to develop. Good to know he's figuring it out. Boom, I love this. That now all kind of makes sense if Shane Waldron was not doing the film breakdown and doing all of these things with Caleb Williams. Now, again, we don't know every single detail of what happened here, but just on the outside looking in, this is number 1, absolutely freaking insane. This is number 2, at a minimum, one of the biggest question marks that I've ever seen on a organization for bringing this guy in, and it raises my red flags even more. Appreciate you guys tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. I want to now shift the conversation a little different here, but I do want to know you guys' opinion. Let me know in the comments below. When you hear these details, does it make you look at Caleb Williams in a little bit of a different light moving forward? I'll be down there talking with you guys in the comments as well. Here's to me where now I think you had to have a Kevin Warren step in and kind of change the direction of this franchise. You had to have, Ryan Poles gets credit for getting the coaching staff in here, but to me, somebody on the outside who had been on the outside that hadn't been a part of the process coming in and going, this is absolutely unacceptable. This does not work. We will never do this again. I guarantee it. For Shane Waldron to be the guy that comes out of that entire offensive coordinating process with the job, when you had a Liam Cohen, when you had Cliff Kingsbury, when you had all of these names that seemed like serious names. By the way, multiples of those names went into the playoffs. Cliff Kingsbury went to the NFC title game in his first game with in his first year with Jaden Daniels. Liam Cohen was in the playoffs as well. Like you have all of these things that it seems like are, or have all these people, I should say, that seems like they would be better candidates than what you ended up with Shane Waldron. And you also had, remember, Jackson Smith and Jigba was on CHGO right when we'd hired Shane Waldron, and he just kind of gave like that. I think it was Hogue. He asked, what are your thoughts on, the Bears hiring Shane Waldron? What kind of guy is he? And he goes, yeah, good luck. Like all of those moments leading up to this, when I heard from Seattle beat reporters that, this guy, he doesn't make second half adjustments. Sometimes he has problems with the process of getting guys involved. Sometimes all those things that made me go, he sounds like Shane Waldron. Guess what, guys? He was Shane Waldron. And of course that played out. But the fact that the Chicago Bears front office couldn't realize that is such a major problem to me. And I'm so happy that it seems, and I'm going to give the credit to Kevin Warren, because the guys who were here, the guys who were a part of the process, George and Ryan, they couldn't get it right. I'll throw Ian in there as well. They couldn't figure it out. They're the ones doing the interviews. They couldn't figure it out. I will give Kevin Warren the credit on coming in and changing the process that the Chicago Bears were going through here and changing the way that this team thinks, changing everything about this team in the way that they think. Thank God that Kevin Warren is here. Now, get the stadium built. That's a whole other thing. But thank God he's here to make billionaires realize that if you spend millions, you can make more billions. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below, man. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. This is an absolutely insane story, and when I heard it, my mind was absolutely blown. Go check out the podcast, Making Monsters by Second City Gridiron. Taylor Dahl does some great work as well. I might even reach out to her, try and get her on to talk about this more in depth, because, I mean, this is something that it really speaks to the development of a young quarterback and how you really, really effed up this kid's rookie year, and he still turned it into something. I'll be down in the comments talking with you guys as well, man. It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down, one love. Peace.